children in both Spanish and in English.
Yeah, it was just such a fun collaboration. And so when we found out that you are also a composer, we were really excited for the opportunity to work with you again. Jake, you're friends with Rodolfo as well. How do you two know each other?
Oh, Rodolfo reminded me this last year that we met back, I don't know when, a long time ago. You were a student.
2003.
Oh my God, yeah. So it's been a while. I had 2 days notice to take over the lead in Song of Norway, the musical about Edvard Grieg that was being done at the Luther, what was that called, that festival?
Dorian Opera Festival.
Dorian. Yeah.
Right, exactly. So, and Rodolfo was in the ensemble, and we got to know each other there. So it's been a while. But then last year, I music directed a show at the History Theater called Dirty Business, and Rodolfo had many wonderful parts that he played in that. It was about women spies during World War II. It was really fun.
Wow. Oh yeah, I think I remember you telling me about that. Well, Rodolfo, you mentioned to me a while back that this is your first commission. So what brought you to composing and songwriting? Or maybe how was that experience for you?
Well, it came about from the fact that all the theaters shut down. I was about to open up La Boheme with Theater La Teda, and shut down. So all opportunities stopped, all performance opportunities stopped. And I found myself taking long walks and just pondering anything and everything. And little bits of melodies or little lines would come in my head, and I thought, well, let me try to write them down. Let me see what happens. And I did a concert back in May that I premiered one song that I had written, just kind of a fun song about puppets at that time. And then I really got into composing this summer. My wife has had some health issues that I just had to process some way. So it was by writing poetry, by writing lyrics, and by writing music, which started off as a small little project and became this multi-movement piece. And that was around the time when you contacted me asking if I was composing music, and I thought, in fact, I am. So I jumped on the opportunity to flex the muscle a bit more and just say, yeah, I can compose music, I can write words, we'll make it happen.
Absolutely. And so your song is Summer 2020, which many of us we all experienced that together. What ways do your musical theater and opera backgrounds play into your influence in your songwriting?
I wanted to tell a narrative, like really tell a story, for one, which in opera and musical theater is a big part of why you sing, why somebody gets up and sings. Also, I'm a big music theory nerd, so it was fun to think about various musical theater projects or opera projects and think about the kinds of music that I was hearing all through my life and see what I can utilize and put into a simple enough melody and arrangement that the audience at home could easily access and sing, while still understanding the flexibility of the voice and with music to just add some more nuance to the piece itself. Also, I want to give a shout out to Eric McEnany, who was credited on the piece for being my piano editor, because it's my first time writing for a piano accompaniment. I'm not a pianist, but I was able to figure out what works, and I was able to talk to him about, clarify with me if a pianist can actually do this, if it's a viable option, and how can I really use this instrument well. And he's one of my opera contacts, so I really thank him and just all the contacts and collaborations in the world for knowing that you make a better project by collaborating with others.
I couldn't agree more. And I love that this project too allows someone to adapt and continue working on a piece of music that someone else has written. For instance, I'm working with another one of our colleagues right now to add guitar chords to your piece as well, so that we have that option for guitar players. So I was sending some chords off to Jack. I said, Jack, is this major 7 chord over G work for you and your fingers? And he's like, oh yeah, that works just fine. So I was like, oh, poof. That's great to know. So your song, Summer 2020, I think it speaks for itself. So I think we should take a listen. And after we're done, I've got several questions for Jake and Annabelle, because they've put together quite a creative video for everyone to enjoy. And I just want to mention that the alternative title for this song as of just a couple days ago, is now Summer 2020, featuring Chocolate Bunny. So so now we'll cue up the video, and we hope you all enjoy Summer 2020.
I want to see my family, and I want to meet with friends, for the days are passing swiftly, and summer's light descends. But my hope is just a flicker as I live my daily scene in quarantine. How I wish that we did better in preventing so much pain. How I wish we didn't fetter our efforts to contain. While the politicians bicker, we are caught up in between in quarantine. And yet from my solitude artistries abound in melodies and sound, and colorful creations ignite such sensations. My soul is higher bound, and in my elation I fly across the ground. Maybe when my eyes are open and the world comes into view, maybe then I will find hope in humanity anew. But the world is getting sicker, and we're far from a vaccine, so quarantine. But still, through my artistry, I can move along, knowing I am strong. It gives me inspiration to see our privation and fight against wrong. We'll sing our frustration and cry out in song. How I love our music making, and I'm grateful for the art, for it keeps my heart from breaking while we remain apart. Though I wish this would pass quicker, here is something I can do from quarantine. I send this song to you.
All right, welcome back, everyone. I am just speechless. Rodolfo, what are your initial reactions to what you just saw?
Oh, I love it. I don't know if you know this, but my wife and I adore puppetry. And so seeing that, it kind of act out all the words, and the story was just fabulous. It was really great. Thank you so much. That's really, really great.
Annabelle, am I right in hearing that you are the brains behind this operation?
Yeah. Yep.
Sure. Yes.
Tell me a little bit more about that, Annabelle, about how you thought to create. So did you just come up with random objects based on the words, or What was your process?
Well, my dad had the idea of like making the video itself and then taking the lyrics very literally, like as literally as we could. And so we just found all of the things in our play area and just went with the rough version. And I think it makes that much more charming.
Charming is I think a really great word for it. Is chocolate bunny a treasured item at home, or was just well, hello, chocolate bunny?
No, I think we were just looking at a bunch of different little stuffed animals, and this one had a family that was nearby. So that worked for the first shot. So that's basically how he came to be the star. It's just luck in casting.
Yeah. We actually got all the stuffed animals from Easter Mardi Gras parade.
That's right. And Chocolate Bunny is actually multi-sensory. So he actually smells.
It smells like chocolate.
Like chocolate. It's pretty great. I wish we could, waft that over the airwaves.
My favorite part was when the bunny flew from the banister toward the camera. Thought that was pretty. That was a nice touch.
Thank you.
Well, so
I want to say I love that fact. One of the things that thinking about this whole project about people performing it at home, I didn't stop to think about what else they could do with it. The idea of making a video was new and surprising to me. I really thought it'd be like, okay, someone at the piano and Jake at the piano singing it, great, that's all we need. But then to see what came out of it and to see the time you put into it, first of all, thank you. But I hope you also had a lot of fun with that as well. And that, to me, is the whole point of this song and this project, to give us something fun and creative to do while we are at home, unable to go out and experience the world as we would like to.
Yeah, thank you. It was a treat because Annabelle is extremely adept at this kind of technology. She's made several movies. And I think this is actually kind of inspired by a summer movie camp, right? Mom wanted to put the kids into a summer movie camp, just like make a movie for a week this summer. And then she realized that fee is way too high. I'll pay Annabelle to do it. And so Annabelle took her little sister and they went up into the play loft and they gathered some things. And then Annabelle, I got to say, all of these shots she edited on her phone in like 15 minutes.
Wow.
Yeah.
I wish I was that good at video editing. Well, as just a last question, maybe for both of you, what advice would you give to someone else as they are looking to perform this song again or at home?
Make it yours, make it authentic. I mean, it's a very, very difficult time for everyone, and I feel fortunate in many ways, but I also recognize how separated that we all feel and isolated we all feel. Even those who are lucky to have family and other members who we like in the house, it's still tough. One, get a puppet. Puppets are wonderful friends. So if you don't have a puppet, get a puppet. But in performing this song, I meant it authentically, the idea of writing a song for you at home, you who is performing it. I want you to love it and enjoy it and embrace it as your own.
Awesome. Well, Rodolfo and Jake, Annabelle, thank you so much for joining us today. We're going to move on now to our next song called These Hands by Catherine Bodor. And as we switch up our green room to stream room, I noticed and learned that our introduction had a little bit of technical difficulty. So we didn't quite get the opportunity to tell everybody about this project. So I just want to say again, hello, my name is Sam Grace. I'm the artistic director of Impulse. And Impulse is all about choir and singing happening everywhere. And that includes in your homes, in your living rooms, in your garages. And I mentioned that you might be like me, and you might be missing that live music experience. Or singing in a choir next to somebody. And we were really inspired back in March and April when we saw people singing from balconies in Italy and in New York City. And we thought, wow, it's people are really recapturing the importance of singing from home. So you heard one brand new song already. You'll hear two brand new songs after I'm done chatting now. And all of them are free for you to download and learn and perform yourself for non-commercial purposes. And we hope you'll find some new songs tonight to enjoy singing with your family, or maybe even by yourself. Maybe you're picking up the piano or the guitar again, or maybe you're like my wife and you're picking up the auto harp. But either way, we encourage you to embrace all the joy of singing at home can provide. And this is a pilot project, so we hope to expand this over our 2020-2021 season. Continue please to put questions in the YouTube chat. We'd love to hear from you because we'll have a big Q&A session at the end. But for now, I'm going to introduce, let's see, make sure everybody's in the room. Hello. Catherine Bodor is an acclaimed composer and arranger. She has premiered works internationally and throughout the United States with ensembles including Notice Contemporary Vocal Ensemble, Chamber Project St. Louis, Bass Contemporary Ensemble, Third Wheel Trio, and 6 Degrees Singers. Catherine takes interest in music as a vessel to highlight psychological processes, personal and human concepts of cause versus effect, and internal versus external experience. I just want to say that I personally recommend that you take a close look at Catherine's website. She has an outstanding beatbox concerto featured there. Yes, that's right. I said beatbox concerto. That's well worth enjoying. Catherine, welcome.
Hi, is audio on?
And I also like to welcome Jacqueline Boyd, one of our Impulse singers. Jackie recorded the premiere performance for Catherine's work, These Hands. Welcome, Jackie.
Hi.
So I'm going to start it off with you, Catherine. For those of us who aren't familiar with your work yet, could you maybe describe your music and your process for composing?
I think the easiest way to describe my music is it's very vocally driven. I write a lot for singers and for choirs, and even when I'm writing for instruments or chamber ensembles, a lot of the lines and things that I end up writing for instruments are vocally driven lines, and that I sing them to myself as I'm composing. So there's a lot of very like vertical writing as opposed to horizontal writing, and a lot of it is I think fun or really energetic and really high speed and high energy. And then I just also like to spend a lot of time in like lush chords. So I kind of have those two extremes of writing. In terms of my process, I think the biggest thing I do is record myself singing little voice memos whenever something hits my brain. And I always have to capture it in that moment. And then I'll end up going to the piano and using that as a way to just kind of get chords out of my brain. But then actually a lot of the actual process of working with material, I end up doing away from the piano, away from any instrument, so that I can kind of sit in my world. And then I'll keep touching, the piano just to remember, oh, well, I want this kind of chord or that kind of chord. So it's a lot of just, I kind of write whenever I can. So yeah, in a nutshell.
And you write for so many different mediums. Has this process of writing just a solo song been different than the work that you've done in the past?
It definitely has. I, for the last several years, have been writing a lot of like vocal and piano or vocal and guitar based like solo music, but all of it has been for myself. And I never release it. I never record it. It's a lot of just demo type of stuff. And so finally having the chance to write something, and make sure that it has to be released so that I can't get in my own head was a really different process for me, because I do a lot of this writing, but it's so like intimate and vulnerable, and it's always been for me. And so to have this happening for an externally facing thing and have it be performed for sure, it was just really different to see how I can capture that kind of rawness and know that it's going out into the world.
Absolutely. Well, so your song is called These Hands. And it seems to capture, you know, many of these feelings of isolation that so many of us have experienced this year. Has that inspired you to be more creative, or has it been more of a struggle?
Yeah, that's the big question. It for me was extremely difficult for the first at least 4 months of this whole year, this quarantine, because everything shut down. It just didn't feel like it almost started to feel like there was no point in making art, which is not true at all. But I started to really get into my head of like, you know, people are fighting for their lives, you know, so why should I be creating anything when, you know, why should I be going through that struggle if there's so many bigger struggles happening? And so that kind of made me get into my own head again. And so it made it impossible to write any music. Now, I think recently there's a little bit more hope, I think, in the air. And that has enabled me to start to create a little bit more, especially with this song. But yeah, it was a really hard time. And I have a lot of people who picked up a new instrument or learned how to make sourdough, and I didn't do anything. So yeah.
That's a, yeah. So, I mean, that is so true. We've all sort of kind of picked up different little hobbies throughout this 6 month, or wait, it's like 9 months at this point. Jackie, have you done anything new since March?
I don't think I've done anything brand new to me, but I have done a lot of baking, like a lot of baking before the school year started. And my husband can attest to that. And since we're just home by ourselves, we are eating a lot because I'm baking so much.
Heard that. Yeah, I'm with you. Yeah, and as you just mentioned, Jackie, you're a school teacher, and you are the premier performer of this song, and understanding of all the isolation that we've experienced this year. You know, how has your own experience as a school teacher shaped your performance of this music?
It took a minute for the music to completely sink in with me as far as what it actually meant to me personally, because it's so beautiful and these words are so, I don't know, heartfelt, that the first time I sang it, I was like tearing up and I didn't even know why. And then I started thinking about her words of, you know, I feel this anger at our apathy and I can't escape the weight that is around us every day. And I think we all are feeling that individually, dealing with the pandemic and trying to be safe and keep others safe. And we're also dealing with these bigger issues of all this social injustice and unrest, and we want to make change and we want the world to be better. And as a teacher, I want to teach that to the kids, that this is in their hands, it's in our hands. And Catherine's song just, I think, blends all of that together. And so it took me a few times to not be totally emotional when I was singing it. And it's just, Catherine, you did a fantastic job.
Yeah, I'll echo that totally. You mentioned, Jackie, the word honest or honesty in Catherine's music. And I think that really defines what we hear in this song, Catherine. So I hope that everybody enjoys These Hands by Catherine Bodor. And it's performed by Jackie Boyd. And we'll get that queued up and we'll chat here for a couple minutes as soon as that's done.
I can only sing about what I know, and right now all I know is being alone. It's getting hard to face the mirror, look into the eyes of all my failure, and hear the murmur in my soul. I can only talk about what I feel, but the funny thing about words is they make things real. And I've spent so much time running from my lack of planning, but maybe I could just let it be. All I feel is anger at our apathy. Can't escape the weight of every day. We're trying to get better, but we're lonely. Complacency, it keeps us all the same. And I know I've spent too much time just going through the motions, asking why. But now I see the only thing that's changed is that I never thought these hands felt like mine until now. What can you find to laugh about in such a selfish world? Keep our defenses wound so tight, can't stand to be unfurled. I finally started to take my time. Won't you take it too so we can unwind? 'Cause we've got a lot to unlearn. It drives me half insane to feel our apathy. I can't escape the weight of every day. You're hurting now, I promise you it only gets easier when you remain. And I know I've spent too much time just going through the motions, asking why. But now I see the only thing that's changed is that I never thought these hands felt like mine until now. What could you do with a little hope? Could you stand to wait? Don't give it up, don't give it up. What could you do with a little trust? I know it's so hard to stay. Don't give it up, we can't be broken. What do you have to sing about in all this pain? I guess I do what I can to keep me sane. A song was all I ever had to cope, all that gave me strength to hope and trust I'd find my way. Because I know I've spent too much time just going through the motions, asking why. But now I see the only thing that's changed is that I never thought these hands felt like mine. I never thought these hands felt like mine until now. Until now.
Wow. That was so amazing, Jackie, that you sang that so beautifully. I mean, I totally agree with Catherine. Your voice was just perfect for this song. Catherine, what are your first impressions hearing that?
I'm I'm just in awe of how just beautiful and heartfelt your performance of that song is. I just think I don't have, I'm at a loss for words, because it's it's just so crazy for me to finally have a song that is so, you know, it's so internal in me, to have that be out in the world and have somebody else feel it and experience and perform it so beautifully. And I'm just really grateful to just your voice and your artistry. Thank you.
I couldn't agree.
Writing such a beautiful piece. I'm sorry, Sam, I cut you off.
No, you go.
I'm just saying thank you to Catherine. Like I said, that the music itself hit me even before the words did. And then when I kind of went through and analyzed the lyrics, I don't know. It was a beautiful song to sing. So thank you for writing that music and putting it out into the world.
Yeah, it's just so deeply personal. One of those songs that you can really help us through a difficult time like this, that when you need to really feel that inspiration, this is just a perfect song to go to. I think that I keep coming back to that word honesty, and I just wanted to thank you again, Catherine, for being so honest in this process and in your songwriting. And again, to you, Jackie, for also being honest and vulnerable in your performance and interpretation of the work. So congratulations so much to both of you. And we're going to move on to our third and final song, There Will Be a Light. And so there's going to be a little bit of a transition here. So I'm going to let that happen first. We'll welcome a few new people into the room. I think we're waiting on one more. There we go. Hi, everybody. So now I'm going to talk about our final piece on the program tonight. It's There Will Be a Light by Duchy Yang. Duchy she is inspiring, but she is also an aspiring songwriter and an instrumentalist based here in the Twin Cities, with a substantial online presence for both original songs and covers. Her collaborations blend English and Hmong languages and have included projects with Hmong artists from Laos, Thailand, California, and Minnesota. Duchy also currently studies business administration at St. Catherine University in St. Paul. Welcome, Duchy. It's good to have you.
Thank you. Thank you, Sam. Thank you. I'm really happy to be here.
And also joining us today are Regina Stronsek, also goes by Gigi, who's one of our rostered singers with Impulse, and also Natalia Romero, who's the choir director at Harding High School in St. Paul. Natalia has also sung with Impulse in the past and is also Duchy's former choir teacher. Welcome, Gigi and Natalia. So I'd like to start with you, Duchy. Could you tell us a little bit more about the artistic work you do on your YouTube channel? Maybe a little bit about your experience singing. Go ahead.
Yeah, so on my YouTube channel, it's mainly just me singing covers, my originals. Yeah, it's something that I've been doing for a very long time and I love doing it. So I'm going to continue with it.
Would you say most of your videos are covers, or how much of your, I know that your song here is original, but how much is it original music?
So on my YouTube, so I did start with a lot of covers first. And then I started writing in middle school, but I'm someone who writes for a little bit and then I go on with the next project and I don't ever finish it, which I should. So I think I'm getting better at that this year because that was one of the goals for me, to finish my songs that I started on. So yeah.
Well, this song seemed to just flow out of you. we talked about the project, and it wasn't much longer after that you said, actually, this I'm done with my song, and I heard it for the first time, and I was on the verge of tears. It is just so moving and joyful and uplifting, and the perfect way for us to end this performance tonight. So I wondered if you could tell us a little bit more about the song you wrote for us.
Yeah, so I usually write songs based on how I feel, and just based on personal experiences. And when you reached out to me, I'm like, I actually have a song that will fit with that. But then after thinking about it, I was like, no, I'm gonna write a song. I'm gonna write a song, and for this specific project. And you know, like you said, I was done with it in like a couple of days. I think less than a week. I don't remember, but I was really inspired. And I know that we all have our own battles, and that's why I wrote "There Will Be a Light." So yeah.
Excellent. Well, you are a Harding High School graduate, and you sang in Natalia's choirs there, right?
Yes.
So, what is it like to be a choir singer at Harding?
It's a whole new family. For me, all the classes that I have, they feel like classes to me. But whenever I step into the choir music room, it's a whole different experience. You see, it's like a family right there, and I don't know how to explain it. It's just so amazing. And to be a choir president in the past for my choir, it's just amazing to see how, although I am the president of that choir, we all help each other out. It doesn't matter if I'm a president, you know, like we help each other out. And like I said, it's a family, and I really love being there. I want to go back and visit my family there, but because of COVID, you know, everything's closed. But after COVID, I'm going to reach out to everyone, and we're going to probably do like a little picnic.
That's been such a special thing, I'm sure, for you to have your former classmates collaborate with us on this project and be a part of this video. And I'm wondering, Natalia, what has the experience been like to prepare music by one of your former students?
Duchy is a really special student, and she was such a huge part of our community. She had these friends called Unknown, and they were always like, Romero, listen to this harmony, and they were amazing. And so I think to see how much she's grown, and for her to be a leader for us and to share her music and to share just such a strong message that I think all of us, but especially students, need right now is, I mean, I feel like all I've sent her are heart emojis for the past month. I'm just so proud of her.
So expanding on that a little bit, Natalia, now knowing that this is a piece of music that not only will we be sharing today, but that other people can learn, why should people learn this music?
I think there is nothing more powerful than when a young person shares their voice and their story. That's where it starts with me as a choir director. And I think that the Hmong community is so strong on the east side where Harding is. And from the time I've spent working, I've been so lucky to learn. And I think for us to have a piece of music that is accessible, that is beautiful, that is powerful, that empowers students, we got to sing it. And just because it's in a language that some of us don't know, that's not enough to stop us. And so I think to have somebody that I know, I love, one of my kids, write this piece of music and share her culture and her story with us, I mean, she's inviting us to sing, and I think we have to accept that invitation.
I couldn't agree more. I really enjoyed learning to sing in Hmong for the first time. And I personally love singing in many languages. And I know that you do as well, Gigi. So as someone who speaks Portuguese and Spanish and English and a little bit of French, what has it been? What's the experience been like preparing a song in Hmong as well?
It was so beautiful. I just remember the process of sitting down and listening to Duchy sing, and in the recording that we were all sent, and focusing on what exactly the shapes of the words were, how were the sounds blending into each other, and how can I make that sound myself. And it was just so cool to be able to enter into a new sort of a new text for me. So I'm so excited to sing in Hmong in the future and look even further into that.
Ditto. And we encourage everybody watching today to also download this music. There are wonderful resources that Duchy has helped provide for us. There's a demo track of Duchy singing. There is also 2 tracks of Duchy speaking the Hmong text slowly and once at a normal pace. And then one of our board members also put together an IPA transcription of the text using actual IPA symbols for the Hmong language, and then also like an English phonetic pronunciation as well for native English speakers, uses the same kind of phonemes. So I want to talk a little bit about the student experience before we view this video. So Natalia, your chamber singers were able to collaborate with some of our impulse singers. And we asked a few of your students about their feedback on the experience. And I'm wondering if you would be able to share some of those responses. I think we're hearing from Jacinda, Aaron, and Rose. And we're also going to put their pictures up on the screen while you're chatting. So go ahead and take it away.
So I asked Jacinda Yang, who's a classmate of Duchy's, they sing in choir together for a couple of years, how did it make you feel to perform music by one of your former classmates? Jacinda says, being able to perform a piece of music by a fellow classmate and an incredible artist made me feel confident. Duchy is an intelligent artist. Even the meaning behind the song is something so moving and touching. I was confident in knowing that this song would go smoothly, and as a choir would be able to enjoy singing this piece of music. She says, I would like for the world to know that this music is meant to touch the hearts of everyone, especially during such a rough time in this world. Music really brings people together, and it's such a positive energy. I wish for you to feel that as you listen to this beautiful piece. I then asked a student, Aaron, who has also looked up to Duchy and sang with Duchy. I said, how did Duchy's music make you hopeful? And she says, Duchy's music makes me know that better days are coming if they're not here already. The lyrics, you will be all right, just know that it'll take time, but there will be a light, really resonates with me because for a while in my life, there wasn't a light, and I have found it now. And this song reminds me about when I finally found my light. I want the world to know that Duchy's piece is like something I've never heard before. It's beautiful and encouraging, and she's so young writing pieces like this. It's inspiring. And our final person was Rose. And I asked Rose, what was the most exciting challenge or opportunity in learning, recording, or performing this work? Rose says, the most exciting thing about this was just singing it. When I first heard the song, I was really moved. I loved how catchy it was. I loved how meaningful it was. I loved the lyrics. I helped a bit with the Hmong pronunciation. Side note, she was our Hmong coach. She was constantly correcting us. She kicked my butt in Hmong. Since Hmong is a tonal language and the sounds are different from English, I liked learning and teaching the Hmong lyrics, and it also helped me with my own Hmong. I was glad that I did something to help in this project. Another exciting part I enjoyed was creating the flags. I had a lot of fun creating the flags. It portrays each person's emotion and thoughts. It portrays what they think is dark and what they think is light. Overall, I had a lot of fun singing and learning the song. It's very catchy and really comforts someone.
That about sums it up, I think. And Rose spoke about the flags, which is a great idea Natalia had early on in this project, was to ask everybody involved to write about what it feels like to not have a light in your life on one side, and then on the other side, what it does feel like to be a light or have a light in your life. And so you will see that at the beginning and the end of the video. So we hope that you enjoy Duchy Yang's new piece, There Will Be a Light, and we'll cue that up right now in debrief when we're done. Remember to write questions in the chat if you have them. Wow. Duchy, what's going on through your head after viewing that?
I was very emotional. I kind of teared up a little bit. It's amazing. I really loved what you guys did. It means a lot to me. Why am I crying? I am so sorry. This is really amazing, and I just want you guys to know that I'm really thankful.
I enjoyed every minute of it. Gigi, Natalia, do you have anything to add?
Yeah, I would love to share that when I was learning this song, I was in a place that I didn't feel as though I had a lot of hope. And taking the time to really sit through and concentrate and focus on learning the Hmong text, focus on learning the music, it planted a seed through all of that repetition. And I just remember carrying that song with me through the entire next week when I was feeling really heavy. And it just was such a special reminder that, like, it's going to take time, but there will be a light. It's going to be okay. Just keep going. And that was really special. And I'm so grateful for your words and your music.
Yeah, and I want to just make sure that we credit one other person who is involved in this project, and it was Ben Wegner, right? Natalia, is that how you say his last name? Who not only came up with a piano harmonization for the piece, but also recorded that backing track for us. So it was really wonderful. And a great example of how you can take this music and make it your own. So we have a pop chord version of this song that's available on our website that you can download and learn yourself. And it might, for me, the key sat a little low. So if you want to add a couple of capos on your guitar, you could change the key. Anything to do to make this piece your own. And if you want to record it and share it with us, great. We'll feature you. I know that Duchy would love to see more people performing her music, and maybe we'll see some more people doing your music on or this particular song on your YouTube channel, because I know you feature a lot of other artists too. So cool. Well, thank you all so much. We're going to transition now into a final Q&A session. So if any of you have out there watching have any lingering questions that you'd like to ask all of our artists, we're going to bring them back and chat for a few minutes. And while that's happening, I just want to make a couple of plugs and final thoughts about this project. And the first is that all the music that you heard today is completely free and available for you to use as long as it's for non-commercial purposes. So it means you're not making money off of it. So you can download the sheet music, the demo recordings, language resources. And if you'd like to, like I mentioned just earlier, if you'd like to submit your own cover, please tag us at MPLS Impulse. We'd love to feature you. I encourage you also to please subscribe to all the artists you heard today, especially Rodolfo, Catherine, and Duchy. You can find more information and links to their websites in the description below. And then finally, this is merely just a pilot performance for our Songbook project. We hope to expand this to many more artists throughout the year. With the pandemic, supporting artists is more important than ever. And if you'd like to sponsor a commission for this project, you can inquire about more information at info@mplsimpulse.org. You can also contribute financially at any level at the links below. And you can also help us spread the word by just sharing this music with others, by singing it yourself. There's so many ways to get involved. So without further ado, I'm going to pull up everybody. Looks like we're all here, and check to see if we have any questions. Got a lot of feedback throughout this process. Whoops, too many windows. Okay, let's see what we got. Bea said this bunny is everything. That's it. We got a lot of comments about the chocolate bunny. Lots of really great comments. I'm looking for questions. Well, I guess the one question is, where do you get one of those chocolate bunnies? You think you can answer that, Jay?
Well, I think Annabelle mentioned it. Where did you get yours?
In a Mardi Gras parade. I don't know.
Oh, that's right.
Buy them, but
Yeah, I don't know. There's the wonderful thing called the interwebs. So good luck.
Okay.
Maybe you have a friend out there.
We have a question here from Jamie. And this is for everybody. Has quarantine or isolation given anyone new composition or performance ideas, or maybe things you hadn't considered doing or trying before? Feel free to jump in.
I've been experimenting a lot with unaccompanied voice. Since I live by myself generally, I like to see what sort of colors I can come up with in, my own apartment, and take videos when I can and see how that sounds and play around with that.
Awesome. Rodolfo, you look like you were shaking your head a little bit. You have something you'd like to add?
Yeah, just we kind of talked about it in our little segment, but that composition as a whole, for me, I don't know if it would have come about if we hadn't been put into isolation. It really came about because of that for me. But that, and also picking up other instruments to kind of learn or relearn old instruments too. It's really given me a push to explore it all, try it all.
Yeah, I had that same thought at the beginning of this pandemic. I went from no artistic work is going to happen to the most artistic work is going to come out of this time. So I think that's a really interesting question. It'll be fascinating to see where we are and when we look back 5, 10, 20 years from now. Got another question from Megan. What are your own traditions or rituals for making music at home with family or friends? This is a great question. None of you sing with your family or friends?
I'll pop back out quickly here. My wife and I do a salon every other month now, and we'll call up friends or family. We'll invite a big group of people, and whoever shows up and just say, "What do you want to do? Bring a poem, bring play some music." And we've had friends who have picked up the flute and played that, or written songs on guitar and played that. So again, just whatever way we can to reconnect with each other while we're apart.
Hmm. Let's see if I can pick on some other people. Natalia, do you do singing with your family ever? Is that an experience?
My dad is a guitar player. And so when I'm home, my parents live in Texas. I love just sitting down with him and singing. Actually, one of the memories that still makes me weepy is my parents watched Coco.
Oh.
And they were like, "Oh, Natalia, come sing the Remember Me song." And I was like, "No way." I started crying, and my mom gets up behind me and she starts singing. So I have this video that I love of me just like sobbing as my mom is singing with my dad Remember Me in Spanish. So there's a lot of music at our house when I get to go home.
I love that. I also love Coco, that final song right before the credits. Our love for each other will live on forever. I love that so much. I have all the feels about that. Well, what about you, Duchy? Do you sing a lot with your family at home?
Yeah, we do a lot of singing. We love to karaoke. That's like the number one thing that like we do. We love to karaoke, sing songs with each other. Sometimes I would bring my guitar or ukulele over to my brother's house or my sister's house, and I'll just play it and just jam out. We just jam.
I love that.
Yeah.
Does anybody else like to share a little bit about what their families do together?
Whenever a certain side of my family gets together for reunions, we have just like the yearly jam session, and we love to have like some standards of like old rock and other fun songs to sing around a bonfire that somebody will bring a guitar and we'll all chime in.
Absolutely. Go ahead.
Funny enough, I don't really come from a super musical family, which is for better or for worse. But there's always been one rule at my household is every year because we celebrate Christmas, on Christmas Eve, we open presents, which is a little different because I'm Hungarian, and in Hungary, you open presents on Christmas Eve, not Christmas Day, whatever. But the rule is that no matter what happens, even if I'm super impatient to get the presents, I always have to sing this one of the traditional Christmas song and play the piano called Den Brilles Angel, which just means the angel from heaven. And I was always so eager as a child to open the presents. I always fought my parents like, "No, I don't want to sing it. I just want to open the presents." But I think my dad usually whistles along with it. But yeah, I was pretty much the only one who sang in the household.
You ever just try to sing it as quickly as possible so you can skip it over?
Oh yeah, I've taken it up a few clicks.
We got a couple more questions coming in from Emily. For all of the composers, do you have any upcoming shows or performances of your works coming up? Would love to hear more of your music. Well, I know that Duchy, you have music coming out all the time. Is that right?
Yeah. So this year I've been really focusing on coming out with songs and collaborations. And one thing I told myself was, I am a nobody right now. This was January 2020, right? I was like, I'm a nobody, but I want to be known for what I love to do. I love to sing. So what can I do to help myself get out there? Not to be famous, but for me to be more known, because when someone tells you you only live once, you really do only live once. So why not make the best out of it? So because these artists, they are well known, they don't know you. So, but if you know them, you might as well initiate that conversation for a collaboration. So that's what I've been doing throughout this whole year. And like I said, I was really focused on, I'm focused on Hmong songs. However, I want to do a lot more than just Hmong. Something I did was I actually submitted a video for America's Got Talent, and they won't tell me until next spring, but I'm really excited for it, and I'm thinking about The Voice too, but we'll see. It's very overwhelming, but we'll see.
That's so exciting.
Yeah.
And I think I can speak for everybody that you are far from being a nobody, especially after hearing the music that you just performed.
Thank you.
Rodolfo, what about you? What's next in composition world for you?
I have no performances lined up. I am working with a pianist, Jeremy Walker, on working on some of the songs that I have written as part of a jazz-based suite of songs that I'm hoping to find a way to produce next year, create a video, whatever we can do with COVID-safe measures, and just make that happen. But that would require like an entire jazz combo. So we'll have to jump through some hoops, and we'll get there. I think we'll figure out somehow how to do it. We just don't know when yet. And I'm also I'm working on poetry in Spanish and writing songs to that as well. Spanish is my second language, so it's been great to just keep encouraging myself to keep learning and studying it, and now just try my hand at it and create songs. And again, if I can find a point to produce them, perform them as well, find a room with a pianist where we can be masked and separated and still record it and do it, we'll make it happen. So probably sometime next year, we'll see.
Love that creativity. Thank you. And Catherine, how about you?
I'm currently in the process of writing a song cycle for the soprano Catherine Jolly. It'll be for soprano and cello, and it's going to be completed and hopefully performed at some point, with COVID permissions next year, whether that's a video or if it's a live performance, we'll see. And then hopefully more soon than that, I actually do a lot of vocal a cappella arranging. So a lot of music that I have arranged in the past year and a half is actually in the process of being mixed and recorded and put out on Spotify or YouTube. One group I know is very soon, they just filmed a music video to one of my arrangements, Grow As We Go by Ben Platt, who you may know from Dear Evan to Hansen. And their music video will be out sometime in the next couple months. So all that is pretty exciting.
That is exciting. And I will put another plug in for Catherine's arranging of a cappella music. It is not just your typical bop, bop, bop to a melody line. It is very, very creative arranging for a cappella work. So do check that out. We're going to end with one more question from Haven. Haven writes that it's easy to focus on what we can't do right now due to the pandemic. What might be some positives from our new normal that you will want to continue doing after the pandemic is over? So we're looking at the silver lining. Is there a silver lining to any of this? What do you think, Jake, Annabelle? Do you think of one?
Well, I think like Jackie, Annabelle has been baking almost every day,
Yes, a lot.
and she's getting really good at it. And I'm going to make her continue that.
I'm trying to bake a new thing every single day of December. So.
Oh, that's a great challenge.
Yeah.
Good luck. What about you, Jackie?
I think a silver lining for me, just in the bigger picture, is we've all found new ways to interact and connect and teach and learn and sing and collaborate that 1 year ago, I don't think we ever would have dreamed of. So I think we're going to be changed forever from this. I know we want to come out of it, but I think in the long run, there's going to be some positive things that we've learned and acclimated to.
Absolutely. Natalia, silver lining?
I echo what Jackie said. I think I've never felt so connected to my family and my friends because I think now we're being intentional. It's not just, oh yeah, let's get coffee sometime. It's, hey, I'm going to call you. What are you doing? And I think that's now a part of my routine that I think even when life gets back to crazy, I'm excited to keep intentionally calling my friends, intentionally calling my family, and making time to foster that community that we really realized we need to thrive, or survive.
100%. Gigi, what about you?
That to echo what both Natalia and Jackie said about sort of thinking outside of the box, being intentional about spending time with friends and family, even from a distance, having to really focus in and let go of some things in my daily routine that like maybe I tried to just put too much on my plate and focus on the essential. I think that's been something really, really interesting as a result of the pandemic, and finding like I can let some things go and like focus on what needs to happen in these moments.
Heard that. Yes, absolutely. Rodolfo.
I agree with everything everyone is saying.
Fair enough. And Catherine?
I also agree with everything everyone's saying, especially what Natalia said about intentionality. That's been huge. Like, I'm being so much more intentional with my time with other people and reaching out to friends and trying to keep those connections up, because even when we're far apart from each other, you know, social interaction and meaningful heart-to-heart interaction is crucial to our well-being. So, yeah.
Thank you. Well, Duchy, I'm going to give you the last word. What do you think?
I agree with everyone. I agree with everyone. I think for me personally, it's, I think like I've mentioned before, music is something that is that I write from how I feel, and I think there's a lot of feelings throughout the year of 2020. So I've just been doing that and trying to be positive. One quote that I always say to people is, everything will be all right in the end, and if it's not all right, it's not the end yet. So I don't remember who it's from, but that's one of my favorite quotes, and I'm gonna tell it to you guys.
And it fits so perfectly with your song too.
Yeah.
Well, I want to thank all of you so much for writing music, for singing music, for being a part of this project. And I want to thank all of our listeners today. And I hope that you're inspired to share this music with someone else, to help us expand this program even further. Thank you so much. Again, we are Impulse. My name is Sam Grace. And thank you so much for joining us tonight. Goodbye, everybody.